Hey guys, I'm Pranavi Nissan. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about At Night, All Blood is Black by David Diop, translated into English by Anna Moskovicus. So this book was originally written in French and it was so beautiful that it won so many awards that it was translated into English, and it is the winner of the International Booker Prize 2021. So deserving of that title, so deserving of that award. The only word that I can use to describe how I felt while reading this book is hypnotic. It's absolutely hypnotic. When I was reading this, I was under this mind-boggling um, feeling, like very unsettling feeling, that it was so full of darkness and so full of light at the same time that it's very rare to find a book which shows the beauty and the darkness, the ugly darkness of a man, of his life. And I really think you all need to read this, and I think you're going to feel hypnotic as well because it's just hypnotic. So without any further delay, let's first talk about the plot. Okay, so plot. This book is a historical fiction. It happens during the First World War, and we are following the story of Alpha and Di. Alpha is a Senegalese man, and he's never left his village. And the only time he's come out of his village is to fight in the war from the along with the French army. So he's called the Chocolat Boy. That, referring to his color and race, he's called a Chocolat Boy, and he is viewed as this invincible, strong soldier, savage soldier, because that is how all the black soldiers were treated back then, like savages. So that's the background. The actual story starts when, on the battlefield, Alpha and his best friend are fighting one day, and his best friend is gravely injured. His best friend is Madame Diop. Madambe is gravely injured. There is no chance of survival for him. So he begs for mercy for Alpha to kill him. He's in so much pain and he doesn't want to die suffering so much for the next 8 to 10 hours. But Alpha doesn't do it. Alpha cannot find it in him to kill his best friend because he has been taught a certain set of values his entire life, as a boy, as a teenager, as a soldier, that you never kill your best friend, you never kill your brother. And Alpha refers to him as his more than brother, and he doesn't find it in himself to kill him. And Madame eventually dies. As soon as Madame dies, it's like a switch got flicked in Alpha's mind, and he realizes what a cruel coward he was, that he abandoned his best friend when he needed him the most. Abandoned in the sense, not run away from him, but he defied him, the only thing that could have given him a peaceful end. And he is driven to madness with guilt. Like, you see the unbelievable power guilt can have over a man. It's like, oh my god. So to for seeking redemption and to ease away his guilt, every night he goes into the German camp, kidnaps German soldiers, and he tortures them in the same way that Madame died. So when the German soldiers ask for mercy and ask to be killed, he shows them mercy and he kills them in hopes to like recreate the last scene with Madamba and show him that I mean, I don't know what he's trying to show, or he's just trying to get revenge for what happened to his best friend. But at the same time, he's also trying to seek forgiveness and redemption for not killing his best friend when he had the opportunity to, for giving his best friend the um, respectable death that he deserved. And every night he goes to the German camp, kills a German soldier in the same way that he wanted to kill his best friend, and he wanted to, in the sense, at the end he didn't want to torture his best friend. So he chops off their hand and brings it back to the French camp. So everyone in his regiment is so impressed with him. They are in awe, like, you are unbeatable, you are invincible. They pat him on his back. They're like, you're the kind of soldier we need. So it keeps happening again and again. He goes out, kills a person, another person, another person. After killing 4 Germans in a very mysterious way, and these people don't know what he does to them, he just brings back their hands. They start to get freaked out. Like, there is something wrong with this man. It's like, what does he do with all these hands? What is he doing with those people? So rumors start flying around that this man is actually a sorcerer. He goes out at night and does some dark rituals, or he's a cannibal. So such dark rumors keep flying out, and that is what I can tell you about the plot without spoiling it. This plot is very hard not to spoil. So my problem here is when I tell you about this plot, all you can see is darkness and savagery and need for revenge and ugliness of the war. But that's not what all this book is about. I mean, there is savagery, there is undeniable savagery, rage, the um, psychological effects war can have on a person. It is absolutely devastating how war can take away your innocence, how war can like cast a dark shadow on friendships, relationships, families. And there is this huge thing about race, because he's treated like this beast, not as a human, a beast who was released onto the German camp just to kill them. He's not considered as a human because he's black and people don't know anything about him, and the prejudices against them is represented so well here. But that is not what all this book is about. There is so much light also in this story, and of course I can't tell you about it because I'm going to spoil it. So I think it's an unfair, I mean, what I am telling you is an unfair description of the book, but don't be fooled by everything I just said. It contains all of that and more of that. The light part is the justification for what is happening in the dark part. And the as the book proceeds, you see more and more into Alpha's mind, Alpha's psyche. Like the guilt takes control of his mind. So everything he's ever done with Alpha, finally, I mean, with his best friend Madame Bea, finally leads up to Alpha leading him to his death. So, I mean, he died in a war, which is not Alpha's fault. He could have given him a mercy killing, but he didn't. That is all the guilt he's supposed to feel. But that's not how guilt works. You never know what turn it's going to take. So every beautiful memory he had with his friend turns ugly because all he can think about is how he caused his best friend to die because of some word he said, because of how he looked, because of how he spoke, because of how everything he thought was good turns into bad. That is what guilt does to you. It takes away logic and reason, and it just leaves pure unadulterated self-hatred. And that was intense, that was heartbreaking, but it was intense. And wow, that was really good. I hope I'm doing this book justice because it deserves as much justice as possible. And another thing was, this book is like an onion. You know what? Cut that. It's like a cabbage. Cabbage has more layers than onions. The more and more you read into it, the more and more you see into Alpha's mind. There's such layers and complexity to him, to his story, to his and Madamba's friendship. It's it's just effortless and intricate and beautiful. So while you're reading it, it won't feel like you're reading it. It's just you're flowing in a river which is going in unpredictable directions because the prose is so beautiful. It's done in an absolutely stunning way that you won't even know which direction you're going to go next. One moment he's talking about all his severed hands, how he's chopping off the hands and how he's salting them and preserving those hands. And the next moment he's talking about how beautiful his mom is, how wonderful his mother and her relationship with his father is. It's like bizarre, but in the most beautiful way possible. There's so much in this, guys. I think you all need to read this. And it's only like less than 150 pages long, and if you're listening to the audiobook it's around 3 hours. You have to read it. And Sarah Mohan, you wanted a short book, so here you go, honey. Read this. I promise you it'll be worth it. I mean, if you are the kind of person who can't stomach violence, I mean, of course there's violence, there's war, it's a war book, there's a lot of violence, and it is a very graphic violence, but it's not it is revolting at times, but it it's significant. It lets you see why Alpha does things that he is doing. I mean, the way he kills a person holds a certain significance, because the way he kills a person shows you his mind, what he's thinking. Why is he killing a person in this way, and why is he hunting down all these people in the first place? I mean, he's hunting them down for revenge, of course, but there are multifold reasons, and there is savagery, and I think you need to read this savagery because this is how black people were treated, black soldiers were treated in the war, just as savages who were not allowed to think for themselves. And when the captain blows the whistle, all you have to do is forget everything and go up there and either die or kill the enemy. And they were not given the, like, what's that called? I forgot the word for it. They were not thought, I mean, they were not given enough credit that they could think for themselves. They were not allowed to think for themselves. So that is what happened with Alpha and Madamba. He was not taught to think for himself. All he was taught all his life was never kill your best friend. So that was the only thing that stuck to him. I mean, there are a bunch of things that stuck to him, but at that moment, all he could think was, I was taught not to kill my best friend. It doesn't matter what circumstance it is. My best friend is shitting himself and he is in so much pain. He's begging me for mercy, but all he can think of or not think of is that he is not allowed to do it. If this book is encouraging, in a kind of way, it's encouraging people to think for themselves and make your own values and make your own decisions. So as soon as Madamba dies, the first line that Alpha says is, I think that was the moment I started thinking. That's like so tragic that something of that magnanimous scale should happen, magnitude should happen, for you to like realize that you have to think for yourself, not just blindly believe what everyone is saying. I mean, have values, that is great, but think about them. That's one lesson that this book teaches. I'm thinking that is what I felt when I read it. And this is a classic tale of racism and oppression. And there is not just the oppression in the normal way that we know that they were treated like this. There's also a small part about slavery, how black people were just kidnapped randomly and sold in the Middle East or sold in America as slaves. And you get to see that also. That is so much more horrible than, I mean, nothing is horrible than war, but it is equally horrible. And the prose is the best thing about this book. It's it's stunning, absolutely stunning. And the ending is a testament to what guilt can actually do. I mean, I've spoken about this before, about how guilt can wreck your mind and make everything ugly, but the ending is like unprecedented testament to what guilt can do to a person, what war can do to a person. And it's like, wow, wow, I had to reread the last three chapters in order to properly understand and process it, but it was so worth it. I think you should read it. This book won the International Booker Prize for a reason, and you have to read it. It's only 150 pages long, less than 150 pages long. So just go right now and read it. That's all. I hope I did this book justice because it so deserves it. And I'll leave a link to the free audiobook in the description box down below. Please check it out. And the audiobook has a wonderful accent. The narrator has an accent, and it's very enriching to listen to the audiobook than read the book because of the accent and emotion that the narrator describes. I mean, narrator doesn't describe it, you can feel it in his voice. So yeah, I rambled on for long enough, and I could ramble on for even long because this book is really great and makes you think a lot, depresses you, and you will get some gems and gems of beautiful quotes and lines. There's especially this line quote about God lagging behind during a war. I mean, when you see 16-year-old boys who don't know anything and they are given a rifle and put in the front line and taught to fight, you see like, what is God, what is happening, like how did God let this happen? And there is this line, I don't remember exactly what this line is, but it is beautiful. It's like God is so behind during a war that so many lives are entangled together that he or she doesn't know like how to untangle them. So God lags behind in a war, and that was incredibly moving. We know it's the truth, but when you write it in such a beautiful way, that words have an immense power in them, and when you string along the right words together, it can change the world. This line was amazing. And yeah, I can keep talking on and on about it, but I think you should all really, really give this book a chance. And I hope you find it just as hypnotic and provoking and worthy as I did. So until the next video, goodbye.